Welcome. Thank you so much. Please state your name for the record.
Evan Barron. That's fine. It's okay. It's okay. Where do you want me to start? You want me to start with my son? He was born during a murder trial. And he will never understand why his arrival in this world was in a courtroom seeking justice for his grandfather. What should I tell him? What should I tell his sisters who are 4 years old and 2 years old? You want to know what we've had to do for the past 14 months? We've had to lie to our own children about why Pops isn't here. We've had to lie because the truth is too hard to tell. How do you tell your child that their grandfather was murdered in the middle of the night through a locked door and not expect them to deal with the trauma the rest of their lives like I have to now?
Right from the start, this is not a typical victim impact statement. Instead of focusing on legal arguments, Evan is describing the ripple effects of loss, how a violent crime continues to affect a family long after the verdict. And notice the question he keeps returning to: what do I tell my children? For many families, that's where the real struggle begins. What would you even say in that situation?
Where do you want me to start next? Is it with Brittany, who I had to leave at the hospital after a C-section to go testify about the truth about my dad? While baseless accusations slandered his name, how do you think she really feels? For the past year, the resounding question in our daily lives from others are constantly, what's the latest news on the trial? Don't you think we want to talk about anything more than that? How can you not think that our lives and our relationships should be centered around the positive impacts of raising a family, not haunted by the events of March 8th? Who should we discuss next? You know, the defense team loves posing statements as questions, so who should it be? My employer, my friends, my family? They're all here in this room. Listening online and watching all over the United States, these people that have been here every day of this trial cared about Dad in every chapter of his life because he was a great man. I'm truly not going to spend this whole speech talking about how to defend my dad because I don't think the moment calls for it.
This is a powerful courtroom moment. Victim impact statements aren't about proving guilt. That phase is already over. They're designed to show the court the human consequences of the crime. And here, Evan is making it clear that the damage wasn't limited to one person. It spread through an entire family, community, and support network.
We all know who he was. If I felt that he had even tipped off the edge of the pedestal that I hold him on, then I would most certainly would. But there are enough people out there and in here that have heard the lies, the admission of lies, and even the paid-for lies. No one believes a single word out of the entirety of the defense team's mouth.
Listen to how the statement shifts here. Instead of discussing facts or evidence, he lists ordinary moments he'll never experience again. French toast, football games, Christmas lights. Those details may sound small, but they're often what make loss feel most real. Which part of this testimony stands out to you the most?
Your Honor, this is the hardest part. Is this what a victim's impact statement is supposed to sound like? Is this what it's supposed to be? Should I be waiting for an objection by the defense team for saying how I feel? If this is supposed to be the forum to let you know how the loss of my father has affected me, then how should I phrase it? You already know that I'll never see him again. I'll never hold his finger again. I'll never have French toast again, never hang Christmas lights again, never have him hold my kids again, never hug him again, never hear his laugh again, never get to work with him again, never have him teach me again, never go to a football game again, never hear his voice again.
The emotional temperature in the courtroom is changing. Up to this point, we've heard grief and heartbreak. Now we're hearing frustration and anger. That's not unusual in victim impact statements, especially after a long trial where family members have spent months listening to arguments, accusations, and painful testimony.
I've sat here listening and watching the graphic and gore of my dad. And I'm supposed to say nothing, express nothing, do nothing, as if he were still here. I know that Dad would be proud of how I've handled this situation. But to be perfectly honest, Your Honor, I hope you're proud of this entire family in your courtroom. This is the level of class that I expect our family to uphold, just as Dad taught us. We have been patient, respectful, and diplomatic. But do you think that's how we really feel right now at this moment? Does anyone know the comments that we've had to hold under our breath, or the outcries for the falsities that we've had to keep quiet? I speak on behalf of this family and represent the voices of those wishing to say the things we could for Dad and for all other victims before him of Suzanne's actions.
One of the most striking themes in this statement is legacy. Evan isn't only talking about what was lost. He's pushing back against what he believes was said about his father during the trial. In many high-profile cases, families feel they're fighting two battles at once, seeking justice and protecting the memory of someone they loved.
It's been a year of waiting for this moment, and we've had time to be sad, but I look around at the people that are here with us now, and we're just angry. I've grown empty and tired of holding my head high without some relief of letting you know how angry I am that you took my father away from me. There's a litany of things I want to say to those people on that side of the room. The last year and the last 2 months have brought my family immense sadness.
And that's the final pivot. After all the emotion, anger, and personal reflection, he returns to the courtroom's central purpose, sentencing under the rule of law. No matter how emotional a case becomes, the judge's decision must ultimately be grounded in legal standards. The question now is whether the sentence will reflect the impact this family has described throughout these proceedings.
Immense anger, and above all, a resolve with Colt and I to make sure that our dad's legacy is defined by what it actually is, as opposed to what Suzanne and her team have callously and falsely portrayed it to be. You all should be ashamed of yourselves. You broadcast to the world to see over the course of this trial how you smeared him with the lies. You've tried to embarrass me, embarrass my family, embarrass my business. You took him from us, and you've attempted to take down his good name with you, and it's pathetic. I don't care what people say on what a victim's impact statement is supposed to be, and frankly, I don't care what parameters this fits within. But it's how I feel. I've already had to give a eulogy speech for my father once. I'm not going to do it again. I ended that speech by asking if I had said all the words I wanted to say and should say, and I find myself in this situation asking myself the exact same thing. The boiling point of emotion I feel from my family behind me is the one final thing we'd all like to say. Let's hear this sentencing as defined by the rule of law and the sentencing that should be given, so that everyone can start forgetting who she ever was.
Thank Thank you for your very brave, accurate, and personal testimony. Thank you.
There's no other victim impact statements, Your Honor.
Def-
I was just taking this down, sorry.
Before we turn our attention to the defense,